one. So let me start here, as I always do, by bending down the barb. Then I'm going to put it in here. One of the things I want to show you about this vise is, let me see if I can find this little notch in here. There we go. Now let me just slide it through that notch. There. Notice that there's little grooves inside. These Regal vices have a little groove inside them. And when you get the hook in that groove, the hook is really solid there. So the three colors I'm going to use here, I'm going to use some of this chartreuse. It's the same product I used in the last one. It's got EP. Enrico Puglisi has now fibers like this. These contain, you can see some sparkles in it. These contain some sparkle. I'm just using a standard yellow, EP fiber yellow on this. And then this is another one of this H2O. It's a red orange. It really pops red in the camera, but it's kind of a red orange mix, and it's got some red flash in it. And so what I'm going to do, one of the things I'm going to do here is, to start with, I'm going to pull a little bundle of my yellow like this, and then I'm going to come over and I'm going to pull a little bundle of my orange. This is the hot orange, by the way. This fiber is called hot orange. It's got some red in it. So I have these two bundles. So what I do is I come in here and I'm going to mix them, because this is going to kind of be my transition. So I'm going to take these and I just kind of pull them apart, put them back together, pull it out, and I kind of look to split the bands of color as much as I can. You can see what I'm kind of doing. So I've still got some bands. They're not totally mixed yet. And they're not going to get completely mixed. They'll get close enough. It's hard to not have a few little bands, but you can see I'm starting to get a kind of a blend of these. And so I'm going to set those aside. And then I've got my yellow, and then of course I'll do my chartreuse for my back. So let me go ahead and pull some here. I'll put it down here. All right, so I'm going to start by putting just a little bit of Zap-A-Gap up here, about halfway up. I'll just brush a little bit onto the shank of the hook. I'm going to do this about halfway up because I'm going to do another little thing that's a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and come through that glue, wind, get this started, get this monofilament thread started. Come back to my tie-in point. Cut here, come forward. So this is Cascade Mirror Flash. It's root beer, and you can see it's gold, but it's got tinges of orange in it. In the right shade, it even has some little bit of chartreuse. It's just kind of a really interesting color. And I think it goes real well with this fly. And I'm making this one really flashy. You know, when you're fishing muskie, if you're fishing in off-colored lakes or off-colored water, you know, basic rule of thumb is you know, the more stained the water, more dirty the water is, the flashier your fly can be. The clearer the water is, maybe less flash. You don't want to get quite so flashy. And I'm not going to do this 50-50. I'm going to put this here on my hook shank. And I'm going to do maybe about a third. Whoops. Let's try that again. I'm going to put maybe about a third of it on one side and the rest on the other. Get this bent over. There we go. So now I'm going to come up and I'm going to drop it right to the top, just like that. Get one wrap in front of it. Now we'll really anchor it in place. Now I'm just going to hold it on top, and I'm going to bring this back all the way back. And that'll give me a nice kind of core of flash in this material. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm beginning here with a full length. I haven't cut this at all. And so I'm going to fold it in half. Notice very little. It's, like I said, take the amount you think you need and then cut it in half. So I'm going to fold this over, and the technique is just the same as on the other one. I'm going to bring it up on this side. Whoops, let's drop it a little lower. And then I'm going to come around and get this piece here, make a little V with it. Oops, let's try that again. Let's come forward just a little bit. All right, let's try that one more time. Bring it up to about there. Now I'm going to come and get this piece and bring it back, and then bring this piece back. And I'm going to make a little V with them on the bottom here and then pull them around the hook shank. Okay, then I'm going to come in here and get my chartreuse. Now, look at the size of the bundle. I'm going to split it in half. Okay. Like I said, get real sparse. So now this one, I'm going to again put it over the thread, bring it down, and then I'm going to do this in a little V on the top as well. You get this piece out and this piece out, so I kind of got them in a little V there. Come back, and I've got a top and a bottom. Okay, so there's the beginning. So let's do another one. So I'm going to come take my yellow. Again, I'm going to split this. We'll still use a full size, full length for the second one. Come forward, and we'll fold it over. Bring it up and make a little V here with it. One on each side, kind of angling downward. Angling downward, and then I'll come and I'll get some of my chartreuse. So again, I'm still working with full length, the full length of the fiber. So I'm going to do that side, bring this back this way, do kind of a little V going up, and there we go. So now we can kind of comb it a little bit. Just kind of comb it out a little. Let's get it. Kind of see how it's very sparse. You don't want too much here. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to start with my yellow and red mix, my yellow and orange, hot orange mix, I should say. So I'm just going to take a little bit of it. Now this stuff has got some red flash built into it, so that's kind of a nice feature too. So again, same technique. I'm going to fold it over. one going down, get this one going down. Again, it's going to kind of be a little downward V shape that I'm putting in there, and I'll hold them down underneath and put a couple wraps there. I can lift this up and start pulling this stuff back. Now, take my chartreuse again. Again, this is a full length piece, so I'm going to cut it just like I did before. Put the short piece back there. And come in here, come up, make that little V like that, wind it down. I'm going to take a little Zap-A-Gap. This is a little thin Zap-A-Gap. I'm just going to add a little right here on these wraps just to help secure everything. Just a little tiny bit, and then I'm going to come forward. Again, I'm going to do my yellow-red mix, or yellow hot orange mix, I should say. Bring that down. So it's coming down in a V. Like that. Now I'm going to start using some of these little shorter pieces of chartreuse that I had left behind that I cut off. So let's take this. Anchor it down. Have one piece go one way, one piece go the other way. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to go to the full orange. I've kind of got this transition from the yellow to my mix. Now I'm going to go to the full hot orange here. So I'm going to take some and cut it in half because I'm up towards the front now, and I guess I'll start with just a half a length here. It's probably almost more than I need, but again I divide it in half again. I mean, that right there is a lot. That's almost maybe more than I need. So put it up in here, and I'll put that back down. Let's make it go down like that. And then I'll take my chartreuse, a little short piece of chartreuse, and make my little V with it here. So I'll do a V that way, do a V that way. Okay, and then I'll take my orange again. Now I'm going to take this piece here, which was the half of the piece I just used. I'm going to cut it in half now because I'm definitely up towards the front. I can start shortening these up quite a bit. So I can bring this up, bring it back, bring that side back. Again, I'm making that little V. Get up there, there we go. And then come up front. I've run out of chartreuse, so I need to come get a little bit more of it here. And I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half again. So I've got this little short piece right here. And I don't even know if I need quite all that. I don't think I do. I think I'm going to divide this in half a little bit too. Use a little, yeah, so about that much. So I'm going to lay that in there, make a little V with it, come back, make a little V with it, and then come back in, get some of my hot orange. I'll divide it in half, and then I'm going to take this piece and cut it in half. And come in here, bring this side around, bring it down. Okay, so I'm starting to get pretty good shape here. I've got, you can see even with trying to keep it, even by trying to keep it sparse, I've still got a lot of fiber on there. That's why, it's just so easy to overdress these. It's crazy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my ice fur, and I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of it here. See, just a little bit like that. Cut it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it in half. Set this half aside for a later fly. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it over the hook shank like that. Then I'm going to bring it up. Then I'm going to hold it like this. And I want to hold it right on the bottom and come back. I've got this red down there. It's going to be my gill. So I'm going to put one last little bunch of chartreuse up here on top, above that. And we'll wind that down and a little stray fibers back. All right, and I'm just going to do a quick whip finish here. And I'll just add just a little tiny bit of my thin zap to the thread wraps. That'll just kind of make sure everything stays put, even though I've really never had one come apart. Okay, so now before I do anything else, I'm going to take this red that I put in here and I'm going to come and I'm just going to maybe trim it about there. I might come back and trim it a little later. So now I'm going to comb this out. I've got lots of fibers to work with here. So comb it out. I'm going to pull it out of the vise and I'm going to comb it out, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like when I've got it combed out. So see, I've combed it out into a big fan like that. So I'll go ahead and I will start trimming it. So come in here, just kind of trim up to there as I first cut. So you can see I just kind of did that cut along there. And then I'll kind of come here and trim a nice big angle, kind of starting to get my V shape going. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here on my board that I showed you previously and just measure this out. What I want it to be is when I put the head on it, from the eyes to the tip of the tail is 4 inches on this fly. So I'm not too far off that right now. Take a little bit more off. And then I'm going to put these scissors aside. I'm going to take my curved scissors, my curved hair scissors, and I'm going to come in here and just put a little curvature, get it kind of minnow shaped. Then I'll kind of do the same here. Kind of get this belly going. So you can see it's starting to come together here. Pull that out, and I'll come back in here and give it a little more of a trim, just not a lot. And you can kind of see right here I've got a little hump, so I'll turn it over and kind of straighten that out. And let's just take a little bit more here up to that curve. Elongate this pattern a little bit. Let's put it back in the vise here. And I think I'll just come in here kind of along that corner and just take a little bit out. Actually, let me take it out and do that. Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's kind of where I'm at right now. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've got a whiting chartreuse, grizzly chartreuse, dyed chartreuse rooster cape here. I'm going to pick a couple of feathers I like off from it, because these are going to go down the side of my fly. So there's one feather. And there's another one that I like. Okay. So I'm going to start, and what I'm going to do is I'm putting it along the side here. So I'm going to start by putting it along my side and kind of measuring it back. And let me grab my scissors here and I'll cut that off. I'm leaving a little bit of stem there. So now let me get another feather. Let me find another feather here. All right, let's find another one here that I like. What I'm doing is I'm kind of looking for feathers that have a little bit more of a rounded tip than it comes to a real fine point. So I'll just match these two up for the moment. Match the tips up. And then I'll cut that off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the curve in and put it against the fly like that, and I'm just going to tie it in so that it sits right flush along the side of the fly there, like that. And then come out and trim that stem. Then I'll do the same thing on my side of the fly. Lay that in there. Bring it back. Tie it in a little bit here. You don't need to worry about it too much because we are going to put resin in here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is let's tie off here. And you don't have to worry too much about, this is all going to be glued underneath resin and stuff. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put my resin on. I'm going to put my resin on. I'm going to pull everything back here. And then what I'll do is I'm going to kind of lift it up and try to encompass all that resin in there. Then I'm going to pull it back. Pull the head back a little bit, and then I'm going to just wind a nice little thread head right in front of that mask, that fish mask. And I'm seeing that some of that resin came through and it's in the eye of the hook, so I'm going to want to clear that out. So let's come in and whip finish this. There we go. Okay. And let me take a feather before I actually hit it with the light. Let's get the resin out of the eye of the hook. Make sure it's cleared out there. Okay, and both the feathers are laying nice and flat. I like the look of that. So now I'm going to come and I'm going to hit it with my UV light. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick some eyes for this. So I'm going to use some living eyes. I'm going to use the wind ones that are. So I'm going to just put a little tiny drop of Zap-A-Gap in the eye, here in the eye socket. Just a little tiny dot. Then I'll come in, I'll get one of my eyes, and I'll drop it right into that socket. Then I'm going to get my little stick here, my little tool, and I'll just kind of push that in there and kind of hold it in place for just a second. Give it a moment. So you can see that eye is in there. So now let's flip it around. Do the same thing on this side. Flatten it out a little bit. Just a small dot of glue, not very much. Come and get a second eye. Drop it right in there. And I'll come and I'll just manipulate it into place. Hold it for a second. Okay. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to take my flow resin, my stuff that's thinner, and I'm going to start by going in around that eye socket, putting in some around that eye socket there. And I'm going to flip it over, put some in around this eye socket. And then I'll come in and just kind of do a little second coat on it. That's going to come around outside. Kind of work into the fish mask a little bit as well. Take a look at it, yeah. Let that kind of flow for a minute. Move around a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just going to add another little coat on top. Just a little bit. Push it around a little bit. Have it come out onto the fish mask a little. So there you have it. Kind of a fire tiger bait fish pattern. I would fish this pattern. This is going to be a good pattern. I mean, bass will eat it. Pike will definitely eat this pattern. And even muskie. It's not a huge fly, but this could be, I would fish this for muskie with no problem. On the lakes I fish. And what's nice about this is I could fish it with a little bit of a smaller rod. I could probably even throw this with I've got a Reddington 6-weight Predator rod. I could even throw this with my 6-weight Predator. So anyway, there you have it. If you like what you see, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.